In the meantime, the high anxiety hitting the markets after President Trump put China and about 180 other nations on notice is on full display via this chart. The VIX, the volatility index, right now soaring 47%, showing severe stress. As investors dive for cover, we've got an all-star lineup of Wall Street heavyweights for the entire hour, including Huntington Private Bank chief economist Olu Omodunbi on the stunning and blunt comments Fed Chair Jay Powell made just a few hours ago about the tariffs, and Stuart Kaiser, Citi head of U.S. equity trading strategy. On the hidden but massive rally he says he sees in low-risk stocks that are outpacing traditional safe havens. But we begin with CBOE trader Scott Bauer live from the VIX trading floor in Chicago. Scott, the VIX has skyrocketed. I am looking at just week to date, 104%. But it's really the 2 days, pretty much since Trump unveiled his blanket and targeted tariffs. Translate that move for investors, if you could. What does it mean for where the market could go next?
Absolutely, Liz. And I am here live at the CBOE in the VIX trading pit. It has been really, really busy. Now, what does this mean? We see a VIX at 40. Okay, what does that mean? That is equivalent to about a 2.5% daily move in the S&Ps over the next 30 days. So normal VIX, if we were back in the mid-teens or so, 15, 16, that's 1% move. This elevated VIX here, if you go back to the mid-90s when this product actually started, there's literally just a handful of times that not only have we seen it above 30, 35, but really above 40. This, to me, is the beginning of a white flag. What do I mean by that? When we have seen this level in the past, whether it was at beginning of COVID, the great financial crisis, in 2000, the dot-com bubble here, the VIX doesn't stay this high for that long. Now, this time, I'm not so sure we're not going to stay up here this long because of all the uncertainty. We don't know what the next tweet, what the next headline is going to be regarding what is happening with these tariffs. So this is, in my opinion, pretty unsustainable that we're going to see the S&P move a 2.5% move every single day. But you know what? Talking to the traders here, there is a lot of upside call buying today. You and I had talked about this. Recently, it has been March and April options, now extending out to July and September options. So could that be protection? Could that be a hedge against other portfolios? Maybe. But as we always talk, Liz, you buy your protection when you can, not when you have to. When you see the VIX down below 20, mid-teens, you have to respect it. Right now, though, there is, I would say, not panic, because we're not hearing much about margin calls or anything like that, but there is a lot of concern.
Yes, and it's interesting. We rarely get to see the VIX trading floor there behind you. If you could, Scott, stand by, because I really want to ask you whether we're hearing about margin calls where people have overextended or leveraged bets, and now you get those calls back saying we need the money because these stocks have fallen. So stand by for a second. I want to bring in Stuart Kaiser and Olu. 5.5%. We do just want to let people know that there is something that we watch very closely, and that is these trading halts or curbs. And when the Dow, it's only the S&P. If the NASDAQ S&P falls more than 7%, which it's not there yet, it's down 5.5%, the market will stop and halt for 15 minutes and then resume trading. But that only goes till 3:25 p.m. Eastern. So right now we're at 3:09. Let's see what happens, which brings me back, Scott, to you and margin calls. What are you hearing about maybe institutional investors or big investors who borrowed quite a bit of money so they could buy a lot of stock, and now those calls are coming in to say we want it back?
Any of these institutional players in the marketplace, they've actually had that protection, Liz. They had bought volatility leading up to this, because talking to a bunch of the people out here, a bunch of the brokers out here, they are not hearing anything about margin calls at all. In fact, what I will tell you is a lot of the trade, a lot of the paper out here, and I'm now in the S&P 500 pit, a lot of the trade here is big. It has been big institutions selling premium, going out in the summer, in the fall, and collecting massive amounts of premium and volatility. So again, at this point, we are not there yet, but the trade is robust, and you touched on the 7%. Earlier in the day when I was down here, traders were saying, No chance. We're not getting there. We've got, what, 45 minutes or so left in the day here? Anyone's guess whether those circuit breakers hit.
NASDAQ down 896 points at the moment. That is a 5.5% loss. Apple down 6.6%. Of course, Apple trades on all three majors, right? S&P, Dow, NASDAQ, and it has had a very rough couple of days here. Olu.